When will the world economy finally pick up real speed? That is a big question that a lot of entrepreneurs and economists around the world are asking themselves. No real recovery, no real impetus right now. Heiko Peters from Deutsche Bank Research, what is it that is hampering the world economy right now if we look at the DBIX?
The DBIX remained constant in October, so at the moment the business cycle of the global economy seems to be bottoming out. It was relatively weak through Q3. The DBIX worsened for 3 months in a row. So at the moment we see after the bottoming out of the global economies that we should see a slight pickup of growth, especially weaker in the course of this year the development in emerging markets and relatively stable development in industrial countries.
We'll talk about the emerging markets a little later. Let's start with the International Monetary Fund, who argues that the low commodity prices are a real threat to the recovery of the world economy right now. Who's really benefiting from oil prices right now and who is suffering the most?
It's clearly beneficial for the large oil importers, which are mainly the industrial countries. There we clearly see a positive effect on private consumption. So there are good news, stable development over the course of this year. And we see a negative effect, a drag on the economic situation in the larger oil producing and larger oil exporting countries, which are mostly the emerging markets.
Low commodity prices, of course, also run African oil-producing countries quite hard. They just came together for the Africa Oil Week in Cape Town at the end of October. What is a conference, what is a get-together such as this good for? It won't do much about the low oil prices, will it?
No, I mean, if we look at the development of the oil price, it's determined globally, so especially by the large producers, which are the US and the large OPEC countries. If you see a stronger working together of African countries, like signaling that they would maybe cut their production also, which would be have a negative effect from the fiscal side for the governments, then it could have a small impact on the global prices, but I think a more largely negative effect on the economy. So in the end, even if they try to signal some price stabilization or so, it's not a larger effect on the global oil price that they could reach.
You mentioned the emerging markets. They have been a reliable source of growth in the past until a few months ago. That seems to be quite over right now. What is the problem with the emerging markets right now?
In the emerging markets, we see especially a slowdown in China, but also a slowdown for Latin America. The larger emerging markets, or the former called stars, the BRICS countries, are all performing relatively bad at the moment. Russia is in recession, China in the slowdown, Brazil is in recession. So overall, a relatively weak development. It's one weakness is the negative effect of the oil prices. The other is the slowdown in China, especially the weak trade numbers that we see in China. And these two effects have a clearly negative drag on the economies.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peters. In order to generate growth, central banks around the world have been pumping massive amounts of money into the market. And that has also been the course of the ECB and its president, Mario Draghi, who just celebrated halftime as head of the European Central Bank. 4 out of 8 years are over. That is reason enough for us to look at the person Mario Draghi and his course of action. We'll do that in our focus interview of this month, which you can see as always online at DW's website of Made in Germany.